Hi, this is John Schmitz for the Do Something Indie Show, and I have another special guest tonight, and her name is Kathy Albright with Meet Me Under the Bridge. And maybe you've heard of her, maybe you haven't, but she has been serving homeless folks for over 15 years. And that happens down at the ACLU parking lot at Washington and Shelby Street every Sunday at 3 p.m. Rain, sleet, snow. I mean, the mailman is jealous of how that group serves. We've been down there in some rain, some snow, and all those other things. But what happens is a group will come in and they'll serve a meal to our friends that live on the streets. And Kathy's a special person. She's a little humble. I had to talk her into doing this interview, but I think you'll enjoy it. Let's get to it, see what we have to say. Hi, this is John Schmitz with Do Something Indie, and I'm here with a friend of mine, Kathy Albright, and she is with Meet Me Under the Bridge, and I had to talk her into doing this interview, but now I think she's like, okay, I'll do this, and I'm just going to ask her a few questions here, and she's going to give us some answers. My first question is, Kathy, what is Meet Me Under the Bridge?
Well, we used to go under the bridges and serve the homeless, and the main thing is what we did is we took love with us. We took a hot meal and clothing and toiletries and things, and we've just figured that people are just isolated in this population, and we just want to share the love of Christ with them.
And what made you think about doing that?
It's a weird circumstance. I had a friend of mine was going to come down and serve the homeless, and I said, I want to go, and came, and that first time, it was just something just snapped inside of me, and I just said, I can do something. And just like your thing, do something indie, right? But you've realized that you can do something, and it's like any little thing you can do. And we started out with 4 people, and now we have, I don't know how many volunteers, but, with all the volunteers come down, we've got several hundred.
Oh yeah, it's just impressive. And how long have you been doing this?
Since 2005, for 15 years.
Okay, and then also there was a little documentary of Meet Me Under the Bridge, and that was in 2014?
Documentary?
On not for you, that.
That was the bridge. Yeah, that was the criminalization of homelessness, yeah. We were down at Davidson Street Bridge when they cleaned out that camp for the second time. We've been there for both times when the city came in and
yeah, so they had to clean the bridge, so you got to move out.
The other one, they just kicked everybody out.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I've noticed when we serve. It's one of those deals where if you're out of sight, you're out of mind. But when you get visible, that's when it gets to be a problem.
Yeah.
So we're here at the ACLU parking lot, and behind us, the little background, this is the Horizon House wall, and the ACLU let you serve homeless and hungry folks here. How did that happen?
We went around and we asked Concentra, we asked Second Helpings, we asked Jesus' Tire Shop, we asked the Horizon House, we asked the Dove House, and everybody said no, and Angie's List, and everybody said no, you couldn't use our parking lot even though they weren't open, and we told them we'd clean it up better than when we got here. But the ACLU said, yeah, we're serving the same people, so yes, you can serve here.
Yeah, and this is really a good location because there is a lot of displaced people that can get here because some of them they ride bikes, they come here. But so how does the service work? It's on Sundays, but give us some more details.
Actually, we had a friend that would take 2 to 3 buses to get here every Sunday. Richard, he was in a wheelchair, and he would come down, and he was just such a beautiful soul. He has passed since, but we have people that we've got Rich showed up today. Rich lives on the south side of Indianapolis. I'm talking probably down close to Greenwood, but he wanted to come up and see us. And I think that speaks a lot of what our ministry does. They may come for the food, but they walk away with knowing that they're loved and cared for and valued.
Yes, and
what was your other question? I'm sorry.
I can't remember. That's okay. There's just so much that goes on here, and in 15 years, you've sort of figured it out. And what I've noticed is what's very important to folks that are displaced or having issues is consistency, and it is every Sunday at 3 o'clock. We've been down here shoveling snow, and I've been serving for about a year and a half now. It's like been that long, and I try to make it pretty much every Sunday, and the last few Sundays have been very nice weather, and I've actually had to work, so that's not worked out. But it seems like no matter what, that's happening there, and that's a big thing is consistency for folks that don't have a lot of consistency in their life.
Amen.
I guess one of let's talk about the volunteers. So basically, you have volunteers, and what is their responsibility?
Their responsibility is to come down and smile and share the love of Christ with people.
Yeah,
Not to look down upon, because they're for the love of Christ go us. We could be in that situation in a New York minute.
Oh yeah, when you see how our situation right now with the health scare that's going on, and it sort of makes you wonder. But as far as volunteers that bring meals, how's that work?
Actually, there was Doris and Kim and I were doing meals. We would serve. We had 22 quart cookers that we cooked a meal in, each of us, and Tommy would bring down to-go bags, and we were serving about 200 every week then. And I kind of said to the Lord one day, I said, I'm kind of tired of prepping every Saturday night. You know, can you do something different? And a couple of days later, I sensed the Lord said, start a small group. And I'm like, I don't know how to start a small group. And at my church, they were having small groups. People could start a small group, and I started one. And we had a few people sign up for it. And one, Will, he said, do you have a website? I go, no. He goes, I said, you know how to do that? He goes, no, but I can figure it out. And the rest, as they say, is history, because Will started the website, and people started contacting us off of the internet saying, how can we help? I said, well, bring a meal. Bring a big pot of something. And that's how it started. And now, in November of 2019, we were booked for this year. 52 Sundays are booked. And that's not me. That's all.
Oh yeah, but you're the glue that holds this, and it is a family. I mean, when she talks about people coming from here or there, this is not just come down and get a meal. It's way more than that. It's feeding the soul and feeding the stomach. And what I've noticed is that the groups that come down, they'll sign up for a meal ahead of time.
Yeah. And
then they'll come down here and they'll serve it like they're serving Jesus himself. I mean, this isn't like. It's a lot of times it's pretty good eating. I mean, pretty much all the times. And then there's other necessities and items that people can get, and it's just a good time to check on people because in the homelessness business, we have some losses, and we've had several here, especially the winter time, and just some of the stuff that can happen. It's just a tough life. So to get just an hour to hear a word, and that's one of the things I want to talk about is when you come down, you're going to hear an encouraging word from somebody, a local preacher. Today it was you, Kathy, and I've even done a couple, and I might do another one here for you. If you run short on food and you want people not to show up, just let them know I'm doing the word, and you'll be okay.
Well, we'd like to get people's testimonies as well as people that have been on the other line, like Kris.
Okay, I'm here with Kris, and he has known Kathy for some years. So could you tell us how you got to know Kathy?
Right here at this spot, actually. I was used to stand in this line to eat many a Sundays. Met Kathy several years ago.
And how has coming down here and listening to Kathy changed your attitude, your life?
She's helped me get on track with her and the help of the other people here, I'm, a recovering alcoholic. I was living here on the streets, homeless, battling every day, just to survive. And these people here and Kathy and everything got me, helped me get my life. I'm got a long ways to go, but I'm getting there. So
now, do you find that helping others helps you?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that
we're all in this together, right? And it's one of those deals where, Kathy's sort of the glue that keeps a lot of folks together down here. And is there anything you would like to say? Kathy's sitting right here, thank you or anything like that?
Thank you, Kathy. She's looked out for me, and, I had some dental issues, and, her and the people at the camp, has really helped me get through that. And I'm saying, there's a lot of things because I can't do it all on my own. With the help of these people and God, I'm, still alive today. Because there was a good chance that if I had to stand on the streets, I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, and there's a lot of folks that are that way. Now, you're staying down at Camp Canby, is that correct? Yes. Okay, and that's an interview we're going to have coming up in this series. And you can see another way to help people get back going again on their feet. Well, I thank you, Kris. I thank you for this interview.
No problem.
All right, see, that was good.
Folks, you can't fake sincerity. This is just one of the people that's been helped by Meet Me Under the Bridge. And it's not just Kathy, as she'll say. It's a lot of folks that chip in and volunteer. And this is the part that just makes it worth it. Now, granted, there's a lot of folks that just don't come around. But this Kris is a great example of somebody who's, making an effort. And sometimes it's just tough to get through a day. And we see that a lot down there. So let's get back to the interview. And I just wanted to put that in the middle there, right where it belongs.
That has been on the other line, that he's been in the line to get fed, and now he's doing great. And that's something I tell people, if you want change in your life, Meet Me Under the Bridge will move heaven and earth to help you to get there. But you got to put some skin in the game.
Yeah, and I noticed you just can't have your hand up or hand out. You got to have it up.
Right.
And so.
And that's something, I don't mean to interrupt you, that's something that I want to share that we do differently. We used to go to the camps every week, and we took food, clothing, toiletries, and one day I sensed the Lord saying, if you take all that, who are they dependent upon? And it's like, well, me. And he's like, I don't want them to depend upon you. So we do ministry differently now. We have people come to us, and we're very thankful that the ACLU lets us use their parking lot. We're on private property.
Yeah, nobody can do anything. Well, I remember one day we came in, and I don't know what had happened, but there was the whole entryway here was blocked, and somebody had set up camp, and I was like, wow, I don't want to.
We won't mention names, okay?
We won't mention any names, but I'm thinking, Monday morning's going to be fun. And there was some issues, but I mean, for the most part, I'm looking out in the parking lot here. It looks like nobody was here.
I know.
And I just commend you in your effort of what you're doing here. It's I've enjoyed the first time that I came down. I was like, wow, what is this? But then when you come down and it's amazing. People, a lot of people that don't have anything are so very friendly and would give you what they have.
Right.
So.
And I give God all the glory.
Oh, yeah, there's you. Like I said, it was hard to get her on this interview. This is about my third ask, and then she's finally decided that she's going to do it because I won't go away. I mean, that's how it won't go.
Leave me alone. He was stalking me.
Yeah. So anything else you'd like to add before we go on to the next person? Because I'm going to bring somebody else in here, and it's going to be like a little roast maybe. Oh, no, it probably won't be. But anything else you want to add that, if people can go to the website or anything like that?
Yeah, if they want to go to the website, we've got videos and pictures and stories on there. It's www.meetmeunderthebridge.org. And go check us out. Come down and volunteer. Come down and share some Christ love with people.
Yes, and I would say there is a donate button on there.
Oh,
Don't
yes,
overlook that. There's always, any show I do, there's a donate button on everything. But this is one of the things where, hey, you need to come down at 3 o'clock. There's, just come down and see what it's about. I mean, that's the best way to understand what this is. So, Kathy, I appreciate this segment, and we're going to bring Laurie in here in a second, and we're going to talk a little bit more. All right, now I'm here with Laurie, and she has been helping Kathy for a while.
5 years. I've been coming for 5 years.
Okay. And then what made you get involved with Meet Me Under the Bridge?
Funny thing was, I retired from teaching a little over 5 years ago, and I had been to Los Angeles Dream Center and helped the homeless there. And once I retired from teaching, we moved to Indianapolis. I was looking for a ministry, and God led me straight to this one. There's no doubt. This is the one.
And you're here pretty much every Sunday. I mean, it's just on your calendar, and that's what's going to happen.
Right.
So what would be one of your biggest takeaways from this ministry?
What I see in this ministry, the Bible tells us that they'll know who we are by our fruit. And this ministry has so much fruit, like Kris, who you interviewed today, who was a homeless alcoholic and now is walking with the Lord and making a way. And we've seen it over and over and over again. I know Kathy referred to Richard. Same thing. When he came down here, he did not know who Jesus was. He was dealing with a lot of issues. And by the time he died, he did know who Jesus was.
And that's what I do notice. This isn't just a meal. And that's one of the things that makes it really important. And there is a lot of hands involved. When Kathy talks about the volunteers, there is no less than 10 people serving, probably way more than that at these churches and organizations that are preparing the meals. And it really is, it sort of works like a fine old machine at some point. Obviously, we're outside. Yeah. Our weather's always an issue. And we've been down here in some fun time, yeah. But stuff. It goes on every Sunday.
And you said that you noticed that it's consistent. And that is exactly what I've seen and I've noticed. It's consistent over time for 15 years. This ministry shut down one Sunday in 15 years, and Kathy went out the next day looking for homeless people, and that was during the polar vortex when it was a state of emergency, and on Sunday people couldn't get out. But the people that come here, they know that they're loved, and you've made a comment. It's family, and they come here for the relationship far more than for the food.
Yeah, and I was welcomed in right away with the whole operation. It's just like, basically come down 3:00 at the ACLU parking lot here at Shelby, Washington, and Southeastern. Is that correct? It's sort of like a lot of. So all roads lead here. That's right. Basically how it goes. That's it. So what do you foresee in the future? You just like one of these things you're going to just keep doing forever, or is there some other things you want to try to do, or is it just if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I know this is a primary ministry that I'm to be involved in. Through this ministry, I've also gotten involved with women who've been trafficked, and I've had some relationship and some fruit come out of that as well. But primarily, it's this place. This is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, one of our friends, Lisa, has started out coming here, yes. And then now she's like doing very well at the Hope Center, yes. And you are basically her mentor, right?
Yes, actually, Kathy and I both are now. We're kind of co-mentoring. Out of that same thing, she has a brother who is autistic, and when we found out, almost 2 years ago, that he was homeless, his father had died, and they'd gotten out on the street. Meet Me Under the Bridge worked diligently. We got him out of the mission and into a group home where he's been for over a year now.
Yeah, and I would say one thing about missions like this, and I'm going to be doing a series of people that are serving that really aren't in the system, like say the Horizon houses behind us here, where they have massive government funding and a huge staff of people that do things. We're not going to get started on that, but this kind of mission here is it serves the people that fall through the cracks. Mm-hmm. It's unconditional here. You come down, you get a meal, we give you some hugs, we say some prayers. You come back next Sunday. Yeah. And hopefully that some of that sticks and that they can move up to the next thing. Right. If not, you come back, you're loved regardless. Right. And nobody feels like you're being judged or anything else.
And the word tells us that love never fails, and I tell Kathy that all the time. That's what we do. We love and we love and we love, and then we see the fruit from that.
Yeah, and it's just the joy in service.
That's right.
I mean, I think a lot of times people don't understand why that folks do this, but I see people down here going above and beyond every week, from the meals to the service, mm-hmm. to whatever. This is all well thought out and consistent.
Right.
And it really helps and it works. Yeah. So I appreciate you taking the time, and I know you probably had to twist Kathy's arm to get her to interview much because you're supposed to be her spokesman and all that, but she did well. I talked her into coming on by herself, and I asked her too many hard questions, so I didn't do any bad dad jokes or anything with her, so that's good. So. All right, well, there you have it.
They will know we are Christians by our love. And that's the vibe you get down at Meet Me Under the Bridge at the ACLU parking lot every Sunday at 3 p.m. Come down and join in, volunteer, just to see what it's all about. Next week, we're going to have someone who volunteers that's more based on a secular type of service where there's really no judgment there. You don't have to listen to a sermon. You don't have to listen to a speech. You don't have to listen to anything. It's just, here's your meal. So tune in next Wednesday at 8 p.m. and you can find out who that guest is, because I'm not telling you. I got to keep you in suspense somehow. Hopefully you've watched our shows and either you're a new viewer or you've been every single 22 episodes. We appreciate you. And tell your friends, we're up to over 1,200 likes on our Facebook page, Do Something Indie. So spread that word. Let's get up to 1,201 for people as soon as we can. But in the meantime, go out and do something.